Welcome into Real Talk Today. I'm Michael Liptak here with Sydney McIntyre. Julian Rancic made some comments about Zendaya's dreadlocks hairstyle, and in the CSU Public today, a student wrote about tattoos and how they're becoming more acceptable. We're going to talk about stereotyping in general. There's still a lot of stereotyping when it comes to hairstyles, tattoos, and clothing in general. And I'm going to ask Sydney what she thinks about some of the stereotypes that are still out there. We look at with the situation with Juliana. What is your take on stereotyping these type of situations, whether it's clothing, tattoos, and just hairstyles?
You know, I feel like stereotype's just a funny word to me. I think it's a title. It subjects. It puts things into subjects and into, I guess, segmentation. And I feel like it's different. But then again, if we didn't have the idea of stereotypes, I don't think anything would be different. Because I always talk about how, well, if we didn't have this, we'd never know what it is. But it would still be there, like an idea of something like that. And, there's always a stereotype of, from state to state, Colorado people Southern people, mountain people, jean wearing, Western dress up. And I think, I don't know, it's just something that's always been there. So I guess it's so natural to us because every race, every country, every state, every city, we all talk about it the same way. And it's something that's a known fact. And, it can be negative and it can be positive, but it's just like a being. It just is there.
What do you make about the stereotyping behind tattoos in general? I think when we're younger, the kind of generic thought was people who are in gangs and who are up to no good were the ones with tattoos and stuff. Now it's really changing. What is your take on the view that's kind of starting to go away, but still held by, I think, the older generation?
Well, and I think it's important for people to understand, I don't think some of the kids nowadays really understand where tattoos originated from. Tattoos were something that people in prison got, and that's where they started at. It was almost like, showing their background. I don't know the best way to put it, but I know that that's where it originated. And I don't think that people are so educated, and I think that it becomes a fad and a trend that people just kind of jump on the bandwagon with. And there's some pretty neat stuff out there, and there's, the art that can be behind it, but it's something that over time and through, I guess the evolution of tattoos, it has been more acceptable. And, my family members, I have family members that have tattoos, and I don't have anything really against them. If they say that a family member passes away or something and you want to be able to, have a memory of something on you and with you at all times, I think that's fine and dandy. I personally, I don't know, I guess I'm too scared of them, but I've never really thought to get a tattoo. But I mean, it's kind of the same thing with piercings, because you're doing something in your body, and I've gotten piercings, most girls it's common. So I don't know, it's one of those things, like I said, that with stereotypes, it puts things into a segmentation, and it'll always be there. So we kind of have to know where things come from and know why they are there.
One thing I want to kind of point out is I don't think some of the younger people, specifically our age, kind of understands what goes behind the getting tattoos and why someone older is going to judge you differently. You have to understand when you're going out into the workforce that you are going towards a much older generation, and they do judge tattoos differently, they do judge piercings, they do judge how you dress. And one thing that I always hate is, like, you hear people say, why are they judging me for my tattoos and my hair and stuff? And you have to understand, though, that this person, whoever your manager, whoever's trying to hire you, they're trying to get a good grip on you. And they have stereotypes, just like you have a stereotype about the older generation. They don't accept tattoos and piercings. And so I think you have to understand that you need to understand the repercussions that could possibly come with it. Even though they're not warranted, you have to understand that if someone sees you with tattoos that are extremely visible, you have tattoos all the way around your body that can be seen, your employer, they're going to judge you by that. And you have to be able to understand that that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, and even me, and I know we're kind of talking about tattoos, but I kind of want to talk on the other side of people that don't have tattoos and maybe don't have piercings and don't do certain things. Maybe, traditional, that don't really do much, or, wear dresses or just wear jeans or something all the time. Some people like that, like, I think it's important to make sure that you give the best representation of who you are and where you came from. And people with tattoos and people with piercings, they're all good people too. I think it just, because of the stereotype, we have that one thing set in our mind, and it's really hard to kind of break that down and to, I guess, dissect it. And so, sometimes people that are like me that don't have anything on them and don't have any piercings, the stereotype of people with tattoos and being the bad boy, or, being the bad girl, sometimes the people that are like me, they're just the worst of them, and so I think that you need to think about who the person is behind that, and don't judge a book by its cover.
And speaking of that, there's usually that kind of stereotype that people that don't have tattoos or piercings are kind of prude.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really just a kind of preference. I don't have any tattoos. It's just, I don't think it'd look good 20 years from now. So I
Right.
figure, why get them? And especially because some of them cost quite a bit of money too. So that's kind of my reasoning behind it. I've thought about it, but I just really never had that eager, driven thought to actually go do it.
Well, and for me, the idea of something being on my skin forever, like, I understand piercings, you pierce yourself and there's a hole there forever, but you can take it out. And so I think that's one thing with me, with tattoos, I don't have an attention span anyway when it comes to things. And so for something to be on my body for the rest of my life, I don't think I would be okay with that. I remember when I was younger, and when we'd get the tattoos that you'd soak them, you'd put a paper towel, those I'm okay with, but I think I've grown out of those a little bit.
And just kind of close out on the stereotyping thing, tattoos, piercings aren't bad. It's just, you have to understand that people are going to look at you a certain way. You may not like it, but at the same time, you have to try to understand that it's kind of a society thing that we all want people to look a certain way, and sometimes you need to meet a person's expectations if you want to do something you want to do in life, specifically like a job. For instance, I want to be on TV, sportscaster, or something like that. I couldn't go on with tattoos and piercings all over my face. I understand that, which is kind of a big reason why I haven't done so now. So I think that's what people need to kind of get a better grasp on.
And I think another thing with that, and I agree with you, but I think it's also important for people to know, just because you have tattoos and just because you have that thought, like, people are going to judge me, don't feel that way. Don't go through life just kind of dwelling on an expectation for people to view you a certain way and to judge you a certain way just because of a stereotype. Be who you are. If you have like that open and great personality, just pull that out and just kind of bypass and put the idea of people judging who you are or what you look like behind you. Because I think it's important to be the person you are. We're on this earth for a purpose, and we may not know our purpose, we may not know our path in life, but I think it's a journey that is definitely something that we need to embrace. We need to embrace every step of the way.
And we touched on piercings and tattoos. I want to get your kind of quick thoughts on the stereotyping when it comes to clothing as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are your kind of thoughts on how we stereotype people and judge them by what they wear?
Well, I think it's really sad that I'm going to start with women right now. I don't, it's really hard for me to watch certain women kind of put a lot of themselves out there and show a lot of skin. And, even though I may not be one to, wear clothing that shows a lot of skin or anything, but I do go out in public in my bathing suit during the summer, so that, might as well be. But it breaks my heart because I feel like women are so much more than that. We need to give ourselves credit for who we are, and I don't think that we don't need satisfaction from looking a certain way. And I think that, that's fine and dandy. If a girl wants to go out, in really, really super short shorts, that's whatever floats her boat. But I just don't think it's something that girls need to do. I don't think that it's something that they need to do to make themselves feel good, because I think that they should feel beautiful or sexy or whatever it is on their, just from within. And then with men, it's just interesting because, from when I was younger, my dad used to always wear either khaki pants or a black or blue dress pant, and very seldomly jeans, maybe once in a while, and he would wear a collared shirt, really nice, just generally a professional business look without getting real dressed up, because I grew up in a hardware store in a lumber yard. And it's interesting to me because you can kind of, you know what a man does, and for a, like in the man spectrum, you always know what kind of things they do. But when it comes to women, you really don't know what women do according to their clothing. And I think it's kind of funny because with men, usually the type of dress, you know, dress clothes for formal outings are a suit, you know, a suit and a tie, or a suit and a, you know, like a little bow tie or just a regular tie. And how there's not a lot going on within the fashion of men other than your more of your metrosexual clothing. But I think it's just interesting kind of just the differences between the two.
And if you'd like to join the conversation, follow us on our Facebook page. Let us know what you think about the stereotyping that's behind things such as tattoos, clothing, hairstyles. Let us know what you think. Leave comments at the bottom.